So I underwent endoscopies back in 2021 to investigate the cause of my collapse. Doctors suspected it could be acid reflux or some stomach inflammation or other issues relating to the digestive tract. So the instructions before endoscopy was to fast for 12 hours. So I was only allowed to drink of plain water a few hours before the procedure, but no solid food for 12 hours. I followed the instructions accordingly, and when I went for the procedure, to my horror, after struggling a little bit through the first few seconds, the doctor informed me that he could not carry out the procedure effectively because there was still some contents in my stomach, which made the procedure not effective because they needed to, number one, view the entire tract, intestinal tracts clearly. They cannot do that with food contents in there. And number two, they need to take a little bit of tissue from the stomach walls, and they cannot do that with food around. So I was tasked to retake the endoscopy a few days later. For those of you who are not familiar with endoscopy, what actually happens is the doctor puts in a tube that is attached to, at the end of the tube, there's a tiny camera attached to this tube. And there's also a tiny, I don't know what you call that, but it's a calipers, a tiny clipper and calipers where you can take samples of your tissue, of your tummy or other internal parts of your internal organs for tests, for biopsy and other procedures for diagnosis. And me, I had nightmares of not waking up from general anesthesia. These nightmares started happening back in 2019 prior to my surgery to repair my torn anterior cruciate ligament in my knee. Those of you who are not familiar, this anterior cruciate ligament, or ACL, is a major ligament that joins and stabilizes your knee. So I had nightmares of not waking up, so I always preferred the local anesthesia option. Those who are not familiar, general anesthesia is to put you in a total comatose or you're totally asleep. But local anesthesia is numbing the part that requires a surgical procedure. So for my torn ACL surgery, I elected to have the spinal injection to numb the lower part of my body. Coming back to endoscopy, I had to retake the test 5 days later. Even though it was no one's fault, I followed instructions accordingly. The reason why my stomach still had that food content was because my digestive system was already so poor. So it probably takes much longer to process food. So a 12-hour fast was not enough. So the following week I underwent the same procedure, and this time round it was successful, and I fasted for almost 24 hours. It wasn't much of a difficulty because prior to that I've already had difficulty eating and even drinking. You can view more about this in another video where I explain my challenges with fatty liver disease and acid reflux. Coming back to endoscopy, so the trick that I use in order to help me to undergo the procedure with as little discomfort as possible without you being put to sleep is this. But before that, let me just let you know how the procedure went. The nurse would actually spray, there's a numbing spray on your tongue to numb the esophagus, so your throat feels very numb after a minute or so. It's a fruity tasting spray. You just spray on your tongue, you close it up, and a few minutes later, totally numb. So after which a doctor inserts a black tube, and I'm not sure about the size in millimeter or in centimeters. It's much thinner than my, probably it's the size of your general straw. So it's after it's numb, you'll be instructed to lie on your left side, and the doctor is gonna put the pulse reader to monitor your heartbeat on your right middle finger. So I was on my left side, and I knew certain techniques to block out the gag reflex. Actually, just two. The first, and the one that I did, was to squeeze my thumb as tightly as possible. So I was lying on my left side. My right hand was already occupied because I had that pulse reader to monitor my heartbeat. So it's a bit, you can still squeeze your right thumb in your fist, but having that pulse reader made it a little bit more uncomfortable. So what I did, my left hand was free, thumb in, fingers clasped, and squeeze as tight as possible. So this was the position of my left hand when I was lying on my left side, waiting to begin the procedure. And the thing was, you have a monitor just in front of your face for comfort, and also for those who are interested to know what's actually going on, because the doctor is going to explain to you where the tube is at different points in time and when they are going to start to take the tissue. Do you feel anything? You do feel a little bit of tingling sensation in your throat. It's as if somebody is tickling you with a straw on your belly button or below your chest, your sternum, but instead of the outside, it's internally. It's not really a painful feeling, but it's a little bit, can be a bit ticklish for some. It can be a little bit of slight discomfort knowing that there's something in you, but it's just a mental kind of thing, not much of pain. There isn't actually any pain. So all the while my fist was like this, squeezing my thumb. The only challenging part is the first 10 to 15 seconds where you are supposed to suck in the tube. So the doctor is going to give you the instructions, and he and she's going to say, alright, I'm going to insert the tube right now, please be ready to suck it in. So you suck in. That's about the only slightly challenging part, because you're not used to having something shoved down your throat like a tube, as thick as a tube. It's not like super thick, but you do have the feeling of a foreign object in. So you suck in, and after the initial 15 seconds or so, it's okay. You'll be glad that okay, it's already done. The challenging part is done. The rest of it, all I did was close my eyes. I did not really want to know what's going on, although the doctor did guide me from time to time what's actually going on. Where is he at? He's in my intestine, it's in from my esophagus all the way to intestines and then into my stomach eventually. No, I just closed my eyes, I listened, but concentrating on my clenched fist. So that's it. After that procedure was done in 10 minutes, and after which they took out the tube, and that the first time when I did the procedure was a little bit bad in terms of when they're taking out the tube, I had vomit and saliva just spewing out. I believe it's because I drank a little bit too much of water prior to the test. Anyway, you follow the procedure, the instructions accordingly, which is fast for 12 hours and do not take too much liquid for an hour before your test, you'll be fine. No pain scale. For example, if you're wondering to know, wondering how painful is it, it's not really any kind of pain. It's more of like a discomfort kind of thing, where you know that there's something in you wiggling, but you don't feel like any kind of sharp pain or chronic pain or pulling pain or throbbing pain, none whatsoever. It's more of a discomfort that you get used to after a minute or so. After the first 15 seconds, it's actually fine, but people still get a little bit of a uneasy feeling when the tube is in your intestinal tracts and eventually in your tummy. But after a few minutes, you'll be fine. So don't be too alarmed. Everything will turn out great. Just take a deep breath before you go in. Those of you who are not electing to take the anesthesia, you're just taking your numbing spray. Just remember your thumb and your forefingers squeezing that thumb as tightly as possible throughout the entire procedure. So all the best to you. Wishing you great health. Those who are recovering from illnesses, blessings of good health and healing. Enjoy the animated video.
Numbing spray first. Wait 2 minutes. Let it reach soft palate. Grip your left thumb in a fist. Shuts down vagus gag reflex. Tuck chin down slightly. Drop shoulders. Slack jaw equals open throat. Press your foot arch. Wiggle your toes. Vagus nerve calms right down. If I can do it, you can too! Rock on! Your vagus nerve obeys you.